Also YouTube, NCG here, bringing you an updated 40 card Infernoid deck. Now obviously with Dual Little Chimera coming out, or if you pick them up at sneak peeks, from the brand new set Extreme Forces, it does actually give Infernoids a nice little boost, because not only do Link monsters not have levels, it also allows you to maybe use some of your bigger beaters, get them off the board, bring out a Do Little Chimera, then bring back some of your bigger Infernoids, and on top of that, Do Little Chimera is going to give Infernoids a bit of an attack and defense boost. Not that you need it, but if you do, it's very, very cool. Also, if Do Little Chimera leaves the field, you can revive a fire monster back to your hand. Now, obviously, that can be Decatron, which could be very, very important for the deck. So, without further ado, I'll take you through the 40 card version and show you what we've got. Now with the 40 card version, you rely less on the mills in the sense that obviously you take out your grass, you take out your left arm offerings, and you focus more on getting the smaller ones on board to be very disruptive for your opponent, and then move towards going for the OTK with your bigger ones. So that's why we only play two Anonku. Oh, sorry about that guys, there we go, let's zoom in a little bit. Two Anonku, two Deviati, two Seismus. You could probably cut Seismus down to one if you wanted to, but these two here, Atondel, are kind of like your main state cards. The best thing you want to be doing with at least one of your Decatrons and one of your Deviatis and one of your Anonkus is sending them to grave with Void Feast to kind of boost up your monster and kind of play it out that way. You got the one Sagetti, now obviously that is part of the combo to get both Decatron and Deviati and Anonku to graveyard through Decatron's effect. You then play more of the little ones. We've got triple Harmadink, triple Decatron, of course, one of your main cards in the deck, triple Petrulia. This could probably be cut down to two if you wanted to find other options. Double Antra, again, you could probably take one of these out for a Primus if you wanted to, just to have a balanced amount, but you still need enough Infernoids in graveyard to be able to be banished, which is why we also play triple Raiden Light Swan, purely because we need the mills off of that, and we use obviously charge to get to him as well. We then play two Wandering King, Wild Wind, sorry, just to get to your Decatrons nice and early, and obviously it helps you move your plays forward massively. And then finally for the monsters, we finish off with the one Max C, because it is incredibly powerful in the deck. Now you could play Ashes and Ogres if you wanted to. What you've got to remember is you've got to be very, very balanced with this deck. The Infernoids still have a very, very good ability, because they don't rely, as soon as they get their normal sort of Decatron done, or they get their Raiden Light Swan done, they've still got plays to make. Now in my personal opinion, the 60 card version is a bit more consistent in that sense, but the 40 card version still gets the job done. So next up we play triple Void Banishment. Now these are pretty much, you have to play these cards, especially in this version. So with the Void Banishment, what you've got to do is you've got to be very, very careful, because you play triple Void Imagination, and then obviously the one Void Seer and two Void Feast when we get to it. Double Charge of Light Brigade, you can play this at 3, but sometimes it can turn into a dead card because you've only got 3 Light Sworn targets. Should you mill the target, or should you not have the target there to go, it won't really get you anywhere. So, you know, it's kind of important to probably have this at 2. Unless you put in Wolf or another Light Sworn monster, you could then bump it back up to 3. Double Pot of Desires. Now again, it's less relevant in the 40 card version. You could take this out if you wanted to for a couple more options, but ideally what you do want is you want to end up opening up with your Void Feast or your Void Imagination, Void Banishment, sorry, in order to get your play going, because that is your turn 1 stop and go kind of move. And then on top of that, you go for your turn 2. You've already got your Anonkus and your Deviati in graveyard, so you then be able to bring them out next turn and hopefully swing in for the OTK. We finish off with the one Void Seer and the one Reasoning. Now, Reasoning I still think is a very, very good card, and I think it's better than Monster Gate, purely because it can help get you 2 monsters on board, but can also fill out your graveyard. So whether you get a monster on board or not, filling out your graveyard could be very, very important in this deck, especially in the 40 card version, because you don't want a grass that's, you know, going to mill you too much, especially in a 40 card version. You're not getting anywhere with grass, but Reasoning can actually mill you the right amount in a 40 card version and still get you exactly where you need to go, especially with minimalising the amount of cards that you, so that all the cards you've got, the majority of the cards in your main deck, you don't mind getting milled like the monster wise, because it's then going to help you push your play forward the next turn. And then of course we finish it off with the double Void Feast. Now you can play this at 3 if you want, but the issue with 3 is in the 60 card version you play it at 3 because you could min it, you could desires it a bit more consistently, but in the 40 card version you want to be seeing it a lot earlier, so it's easier to kind of see because you've cut your deck by a third, so you're cutting your deck by 20 cards. If you want to play it free you can, because you do want to see it, but it does mean that the consistency of getting rid of it is a lot harder, and it provides you with more dead cards in the deck for a later game. So that's it for the main card, straight up 40 card deck there. And then on to the extra deck. Now the extra deck is really down to you on how you want to play it, but I've got triple dual little Chimera. You don't have to play triple of this, triple might be a bit overkill, but it's still incredibly powerful. For the ability that you could go, let's say it's not late game, but let's say you've milled a fair amount, maybe in the 60 card it's more relevant at 3, but in this version if you've milled a lot you could play at 2 and go for a second Omega if you want to. But you mill a lot of cards, you make one dual little Chimera, you make a second dual little Chimera down there, and then of course you start bringing back your Inferno monsters and they're going to get 1000 attack boost, and then obviously dual little is going to get 1000 boost as well. So dual little can be very, very important in deck and very, very powerful. Double Elder Entity Ints. Now again this could be played at 3, so you could take out one of the dual littles for a third Ints. Purely because we play double Tiara. Now ideally what you want to be doing is with the one Tiara you can send like 3 Ints, pop 3 cards and you know you're good to go, which is why you probably want the third Ints in there. But regardless you still need Tiara in there because Void Imagination can be a nice 1 card bring you back from the grave kind of movement. Next up we've got of course Michael the Arch Lightsworn. You can play levelly in this deck if you wanted to, because Infernoids rely so much on levels. Just having enough monsters on board to start levelly in and then linking further up. So if you want to play that version, you can do. That you would probably then put less synchros and less. You'd probably drop the Tiara down to 1, just so you've got more there to kind of be able to recycle your Infernoids. But what you've got to remember is, whatever you bring on the board has to have lower levels, so if you've still got your Tiara on board, you'd have to either leave her there and constantly keep levelly in that and using other fodders to move you up link monsters, but for now, this is kind of the better way to go for it. So the one Michael Archworm, obviously for the mills and the banish, Black Rose for the board reset, Scarlight, because that can actually win you games, is a nice little one to make. It can be a second Omega if you want to, but again with the levels you've got to be very, very careful. You're only really using Omega for his effect, less so on the board. And he can, of course, help you during the standby phase recycle your banished monsters to give you more fodder for your Infernoids. So it can be very, very important. You've just got to remember about the level restriction with the Infernoids. The one at Baguska, now you can only make this with 2 Riders, so it's not actually imperative to having this. This was if you put Snow in. Baguska is just a very, very nice level 4 or rank 4 to play. It can get you quite far, but again, this could easily be a second Omega. It's all down to your personal opinion. The only ones that I say are staple are the Unts, the Tiaras and the dual little Chimeras right now. Everything else from that is down to you. I have got the one Akessic Magician because I think it's a really, really cool card for the bounce effect, especially if they make Deco Talker. You make Akessic and Akessic can bounce Deco Talker, and then you haven't got to worry about targeting or anything like that. Not that you usually do, but it just gives you a nice little out and gets rid of their link monster straight up for you. Of course it also works with Skull Deet as well, because it does give you that link zone marker, so you make Akessic, Akessic can bounce Skull Deet. And our final card on the list is Borrelo Dragon, because in my personal opinion right now it could be Skull Deep, but by the time you're making a Link 4 monster, you're either doing it for a specific reason, so like Borrelo to lower the attack or spin a to steal a card, or you're doing it to kind of push through. So there's no real point in actually having loads of Link 4s, because by the time you've got enough materials or monsters on board to make a Link 4, you should really have game with Infernoids. So, you know, it's not imperative to make, it's just to get you out of a sticky situation. And in my personal opinion, of the Link 4s, Topologic, Skull Deep, Borrelode and Firewall, Borrelode is probably your best out to most things, and it makes your opponent worry most as well. So that's it for the deck profile. Quite straightforward on the 40 card deck. Again, like I said, the extra deck is entirely up to you, and there is obviously, of course, some room for change in the main deck as well, so you can make it your own. But for now, this is my kind of ideal 40 card version in compared to a 60 card version, which again, the 60 card version is still incredibly powerful and incredibly useful. And hopefully with Dual Little Chimera, it might actually see a bit more use. I'm pretty sure the Infernoids are doing okay over in the OCG and getting a little bit more play as well. Anyway, Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till Thursday, guys. See ya.